What is going on, everybody? It is Chris from Ties to Fear, and I'm here to go behind the scenes of another song. Today we are picking apart Always Running. It is about to come up on that 1 year anniversary, so I thought I'd take it apart and show you. So starting off, there's all these kind of wacky sounds going. You have it was an oscillator that I kind of created for my mixing board. It was putting all these different inputs, the inputs into the effects set, and you get all these kind of these very, I, I'd say oscillators, but I don't know for sure since it's a mixing board. But you have that going with guitars here, and all this is over a synth part as well with more guitars. Doing a bit fading. But interesting thing here with Always Running is this song did originally start on a keyboard demo, and sadly that one isn't here at the moment. But I do have just some basic keyboards that should be chilling near the bottom here. Like, is it this effect one? I know I have it. Here, if I go back to the start. So to create this effect, what I did is I actually ran this keyboard through my guitar pedal board. So I think that one's using a Dirty Little Secret overdrive, and could be like digital distortion. I don't know for sure. But it did start from this kind of half-broken Yamaha. It was this little 80s kind of portasynth, and we were originally going to throw it out, but I decided to take it, mess around with it, see what I could do, and ended up mixing that. I think I want to say with this other keyboard part when that drops down. So a big part here that I do dig on this song is actually the drums, so I'm gonna go back to the drum fill that starts here. If I can find the drums. I totally scrolled over them, didn't I? Yeah. But I'm going here, you can see a little drum fill that comes in. Consistently, the single hardest thing that happens when I'm recording DIY is the drums. It either makes or breaks the song, I feel, and a big thing that I have here is my mixing board. You can put maybe 4 mics in, but you only get 2 outputs. So all these drums, I can't separate the bass and the snare, and it always gives me hell, but looks like there's some compression going. It's a pretty strong one. You can see it's 12 to 4. I think what I used to do is I tried to separate a lot of the lower frequencies from the higher frequencies. So this one's very low focused. And you can see there's a bit extra EQ. That's at 3.5, I guess. You can kind of see how that brings out lower mids. This brings out upper mids. So if I keep going through the drums here, you can see how they layer up. I duplicate this one. It looked like I put a pitch shift. What I used to do sometimes, I don't know if it made the biggest difference, but I thought it would give it a lower sub-octave. So this one's very low focus. So it's very quiet, but it gives just a little bit extra kick that I don't have on a cheaper kit. But you can see this is very mid-heavy and kind of treble-heavy. See what I can show you. Interesting enough, there's a lower cutoff here. I think there's just too much of the hi-hats going through, so I tried to subtract a little bit of that higher frequency. I was attempting to put it behind the vocals and guitars. I don't know how well that blended since the snare mic picks up so much of the hi-hats. But when it all blends together, I can show you again here. Oh, it's kind of freezing on me. Cool. So if I go back to the start here, right over here. there's a lot of guitars going. Something I didn't fully master at the time is L1 is always this ribbon mic I have. It's I want to say MX144, but it captures a lot of the lower frequencies. But SM57, I always try to nuke it straight down the middle. But something I don't always realize is the phase cancellation you get does very much impact the tone. So here I tried to record it. Doing that, you can see how it changes the tone. Here, let me find the button to invert it again. If I did it a second time, it might be way muddier. I might get more phase cancellation. It brings out more mids and treble, which I feel probably fit the song at the time. Not gonna lie, at the time, I think it was more just experimenting and see what sounded better for the guitars. I was very comfortable doing the SM57s down the middle, but the 144s, you want to get it a little bit to the side, but not too far. But if you put it too close, too far, you get the phase cancellation. Then that's like two mics fighting for the same frequencies, and it can mute out your guitars. I have other demos I've made where I've had to re-record the guitars because the mics, they're fighting so much to the point where it's nearly on mute, and that kind of ruins guitar tone if it's not consistent. If I keep looking here, it started with the scratch track, I believe, for the guitars. I could show you what this is. There's no effects, just straight. Just a straight DI guitar. It looks like I tried to structure it off of that. I tried to record it to a click, it appears, if I turn this back on. That's on mute. I did mute that for some reason. If I go over here, I think I had it, but then it was getting distracting when I was trying to do vocals or something separate, so I ended up taking it out. Maybe it's a guitar solo later on in the song. But if I go to the verse, I could show you vocals that start here. This is really a bit of a turn. I tried singing a lot more high register than I typically do. I don't know why. Sometimes it seems like the music's. So it's a very close double vocal as well. I always love to layer it no matter what. I know that's kind of a Dave Grohl, John Lennon type deal, but it very much fills out the song, especially when I have darker production overall. It kind of gives it a little bit more brightness, I feel. Bass heavy for the verse. I did that on purpose because I didn't want to just repeat the same guitar part. That was the hook of the song in a way, at least for the rhythm. So I had the bass lead this one with the guitars doing a lot more effects in the back. All this noise in my... I forgot little ear piercing. What it was to be clear. You get that sick drum fill, and not gonna lie, I've tried to mic these drums a lot, and a lot of times it's a crapshoot. It always sounds terrible. It's always too much hi-hat, but there's one recording I did right around April last year, and I think this might have been a part of it, where they were surprisingly stable for what it was. So you can capture this drum fill here. But this was a very grunge-inspired track. I want to say this pre-chorus here kind of reminded me of Corduroy by Pearl Jam. But you can see these guitars coming. I'll play it for you. What it was to be clear, like I'm always running, drowning from the stable place. Like I'm always running, drowning from the stable. So going over this here, I do love when that third vocal comes in. It comes in right away, but then it goes up just to a higher note that stands out more. Clear train like I'm always running, drawn from the same old place. Drain like I'm always running, drawn from the same. So you can see how that it's a little start stoppy when it's on its own, but it blends in with that background very much. So when the guitars are so fuzzy, that begins to harmonize it. More effects in the back that are very quiet. I wanted to build a little bit of tension, even if it was subtle. But this just gives it a little bit of clicking, and then it stops at the chorus because that's the release of the song. This is also when the keyboard comes back because I didn't know what to play for the pre-chorus or the verse, so I just didn't, you know. Less is more sometimes. And as I say, less is more. I add a fourth vocal to the chorus as well. But if we're going here, it keeps building the vocals while it also introduces more instrumental. How am I supposed to choose between bored and numb? It's all as much as it comes. And if I unmute this one, you can hear the entire song, yeah. But looking at the guitars here, I could show you real quick. It blends with the bass. It takes forever to solo these. Sorry about that. So it's not a perfect double, but it's aligned for the stuff like the little bends there when it has to be, and I think it really just gives it that little bit of sludge that you don't always see. Oh, you can hear as well. I didn't necessarily. I don't always notice that, but then again, it's been a while since I revisited this. There's a swell that comes here. Then you get a really fuzzy guitar as well. But if I add these swells here, more guitar effects. So a lot of times after I finish a song, I'll just fuck around for a couple minutes and I'll just do all these different effects. You can see guitar solos. If I go way out towards the end, it would be all the way back there. But that's how I get all these different swells throughout the song. I love just messing around with different feedback. It's always a fun experiment, you can see. And then you can just kind of copy paste them from there to another, down to here, these two tracks. But then you can see I was trying to get a left and a right. Going back to the chorus, so going back to the chorus. Looking through this vocal, I took out a lot of the mids, it looks like, but I tried to get a little bit of top end. Yeah, you can see I added a little bit there. Nah, nothing too special here. It was more just kind of taking out that excess low end. Extra compression. There is a de-esser on this Butch Vig plugin, but it's not always as much as I probably should take off. So maybe in the future, if I was to redo this song, I'd put an extra de-esser on some of the vocals because there's a little bit of sibilance, and that's the just very. I know there's a little bit of sibilance on these vocals, so that's probably more like the S and T sounds. I don't know for sure. I know it's S's, but there's others like B's and P's that might be more plosives that are explosive. Not explosive, but it's more the low end where it pops, versus the S is that very high kind of tinny sound you hear if I was to hold out Snake. But going through more of the vocals here, you could see more of that Butch Vig plugin because I freaking love it. But a little bit of a lower compression. I tried to get a focus around 2 to make up and compensate for a little bit of the lost mids. Like I was trying to take out a bit of the mids while still having a level of high end, and I wanted these vocals to kind of blend together. So if they're not super far out in the mix, they're kind of merged together to create one vocal is my attempt. But hearing them together,
Too fuzzy to read all that's buried down.
and it's not always great to listen to just the solo when you're trying to actually mix it towards the song, but I'm just more showing it the effect. I was trying to get the vocals to merge together, and a lot of times what it takes is just like a perfect double track, and you can see I probably don't have the most perfect double track, but we're getting better, you know. Even this vocal.
It's all as much as it cuts, erasing your all that's left behind.
And even like that fourth vocal, maybe it's a little more shaky, like melody wise. You wouldn't want that to be the solo vocal. When it's behind in the track and you have all this building one, it harmonizes with itself in a fun way. If I keep going through the song though, the chord fades out. You can hear that little bit of just dead air from the distortion. As this fades out, you can see the overdrive pedal just kind of leaves a little bit of dead air there, but then it comes back in here. I'll get more of these effects to come in here as well. This is a lot more of the ambient stuff I was experimenting with last summer, so I tried to get a lot of just darkness in the background of the song, because I wanted to have a level of tension. Going back to the start here, there's this drum fill that you cannot hear at all because I didn't unmute them. And also, this was not a planned drum fill. This was just some fucking around that magically worked out. So, thank God for that one. It's not the most perfect fade, but you can kind of see how that fits over. That's a little slow sleeve. I forgot what I played on the bass. It's just C sharp and then it goes. Maybe that's like the 0, 4, and 5 I want to say? I don't know for sure. But then it's going back to, this is drop C sharp, so I know it was like 0 and 5, then it was going to the 9th fret to play that, not B, it'd be A sharp. But, looking at how the vocals stack up on there. I'm always running, can't tell if it was over. So you can hear a lot of dead air there between it.
It's always cold or tired, or somewhere between.
Looking at the vocals in this section for, I guess, the bridge of the song, it's very spacious compared to the pre-chorus where it's more of a flow. So this is
and you can't tell if it was over.
It's very layered, but that was a purposeful thing. I don't want to say it's its own like choir, but it's
or if it was ever real.
It's kind of my shouty attempt, I guess.
It's always cold or tired, or somewhere between.
I think I fucking knocked over the mic in that one. I don't know for sure. Some of these, I think the later ones I just recorded in my basement holding a microphone, S55, the kind of Elvis mic you see. But I think the other one is this mic here for that first vocal because it does get better high end, but also with that it's more sibilance, like I was mentioning earlier, the S's. But looking at how this builds up here, that little bit of So this guitar section was actually just a very fun experiment of trying to go from the right ear to the left ear to the right ear to the left ear, seeing how back and forth I could go while still portraying the melody well. There's the fade in. Then it goes again. Then it comes back in again. There's more at the end here, and it sounds a little chopped up on its own, but when you're hearing it in the full context with the other layered guitars here, I'll go back and show you. Just showing the general mixing bus here, you could see I tried to leave a little bit of the sub end so I could still get the kick in the bass. I didn't really do too much. It was just a little bit to maybe give it a little extra top end or extra mids. I'm gonna lower it just a little bit so you can hear me better and I'm not shouting over the song. But you could also see here for this section. Oh, I totally mind blanked, but I was gonna mention there's a tempo change here, so it was going let's see, I want to say right around 120ish. I can't find it for the life of me. Maybe 134 there, you could see. So it's a lot of tempo changes. Yeah, it's 128 at the very start, but then it goes a little faster for the pre-chorus in that second part. No, I lied. It's 128 at the start. It keeps that through the chorus, but then after that post-chorus and it goes to the bridge, then it speeds up a little bit. And then it speeds up even more for the solo. Part 2 there. You can see I just added more low end. I wasn't trying to get it to be nothing super special. It's pretty straight from the amp. Right in the crash cymbal as well. So you can kind of very much see it's like overriding the microphones. And I don't know, that's like in punk ethos, that's like the coolest thing because you're rocking so hard you broke the machinery. But I guess it's not the cleanest mix I'll ever release. But you can see here, I tried to drop the volume on these drums. It's a very Dave Grohl inspired type of deal. Like if you've ever heard Aneurysm or really much Nirvana, he's always just kind of doing something like that. Come as You Are even. But what could I show you? More bass, yeah. It's just that same part. I forget if I've mentioned this. I know maybe I did in a separate one, but this is going right up around 1,000, a little less. If I was to do it nowadays, I'd probably cut it off around 800, and then I'd have the next one start around maybe 700 or so. This is not how I typically produce this. Usually what I would do is I want to have a low end of the bass, and then I want to have a high end of the bass, kind of separated those frequencies so I can better attenuate the two. But for this one, it looks like I duplicated this one and I used this as an effect to add more distortion and high end at once. So it serves the job, but it's a more risky way to do it. I guess you're more likely to get a frequency overload. But it's a fun experiment. No, you gotta live and learn sometimes. showing how this builds with the guitars at the end here. If I was just to do the SM57s, just the 57s, you can hear a lot of melody. If I was to do this nowadays, I'd probably try to extend this out just a little more, so it blends a little better. So if it's set like that, maybe it'd be a little smoother. I think part of the reason I might have done that in the moment is maybe it didn't end on the right time. Maybe it was just like a millisecond off, and I thought that worked better. It works in the context of the full song, but when the guitars are soloed, maybe it's a little choppy. But that could also just be a personal nitpick after a while. They always say you're your own harshest critic, so better or worse, there you go. See, now the vocals fit with everything.
Bored and numb. It's all as much as it cuts. Erasing yourself. All that's left behind.
So it's a bit of a melodramatic vocal, but it's not an exact double. They're going a little higher, a little lower. Even if there's that little bit of dissonance between the vocals, it adds a nice kind of spice to the final chorus. Because I feel like if I sang it with that same energy as the first chorus, it would not have hit half as hard, especially the tempo change. It's cool, but it feels like it's in slow motion when you compare it to the very ending of the song. More that I could show you the keyboard. There's a lot of high end on there. I think maybe without it, it would have been pretty muddy. You can see a lot more. It sticks out more on purpose. I could show you what this looks like when it's blended here. So it really is two keyboard parts trying to go at the same time. And I've said this before, but I'm a bit of a noob when it comes to keyboards. So, kind of basic presets. I didn't know what I was really doing at the time. But I did get a new synthesizer. And I'm super excited to work with this thing. And I created this kind of Minecraft demo last night. I might just post that for fun separately. I sent it to a friend and I called it psychedelic Minecraft music. I don't know for sure if it's gonna turn out that way, but keyboards are a fun experiment. Even if you don't know what you're playing, just kind of fucking around and finding out is really the best way to write music, I feel, if you have the time. It's not always the most feasible, but it's always the most personal, I feel, sometimes. Always and sometimes in the same sentence, I don't know why. Did you say I don't know why is in the start of the song? That's kind of whack, dude. Go back to the fucking stupid joke, yeah. But what else could I show you here? There's no the ending with the guitars here. Something else I just wanted to show for fun was some of the drum fills here. I know I kind of glossed over the drums really quickly, but you can see there's a lot of strong compression going on both of these, so I could try and get what I needed to out of this. I put a gate on this one, so it's very the sub octave is very punchy. This one I already showed you the EQ. I thought there was a drum EQ here I wanted to show you. Before I do that, you could see I did a usual thing. I've done this on plenty of tracks before, but I do a reverb, and I do that as a stereo bus. I know some people do mono buses on the left and right, but I kind of want to get that feeling of just being in the room, and if my guitars are hard panned already, I like to just go a little bit outside the box. Nowadays, I'm usually going 115 to 120% instead of 134, but wide guitars, it fills up the background, and then you got your drums down the middle, and then with this drum effects here, I tried to do a little bit of the same, nothing too much. The Pro Multiband has been killer when I was doing this as well. Here. So you can see how much the low end There's a lot of low end I wanted to come out, but not too much because it's going to bring out more of the hi-hats. I'm trying to show there's one here, a drum fill. I don't know. There's some drum fill I thought I heard, but maybe it's just the way it lines up here. That was the drum fill there. If I go here, I just love that little extra hit on the tom. It's just that little extra crescendo, and then you see the ending here. I love that, like, all the guitars exiting at once there. I think part of that was this here. That extra there. But, it always sounds like there's an extra vocal at the end there. I can't figure out. It could be the keyboard and maybe. A fun part too is sometimes when I'm doing the keyboard, I only had a 3-octave keyboard. I couldn't have the octaves go up or down, so I was very much stuck in that same range. So you can only go so high. I know that's why the keyboard seems a little limited. There's some part I could try and dig up. That might have been on the original demo is what I'm thinking of, though. I could always pull that one up for a separate day and just share it online, but it'll be what it'll be. That's really all I could show you. So if you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. It really is much appreciated. If you haven't heard Always Running yet, please just give it a listen. See if you like it, you hate it.